So the first day of NHL free agency just wrapped up. I mean, I'm recording this at 10 p.m., so I'm not expecting anything else to really happen, at least for the Bruins. And today was, I don't even know, considering we have Don Sweeney at the helm, what do you expect? What do you expect? What did you expect that was going to happen differently when you have Don Sweeney, when you sign Don Sweeney to the extension? And yeah, this is not the free agent day one that I would expect for the Bruins. I expected them to go after at least a solid name out there. I would expect them to, get at least one big name. I know it's not a big name, not in loose terms. I mean, I did predict them getting Brock Besser. Obviously, that did not happen. He signed with the Canucks for whatever fucking reason. Did not expect that. I don't think anyone expected that, even Canucks fans. But regardless, yeah, this day was definitely a headbanger for a lot of Bruins fans, considering who the Bruins brought in today. Mostly bad, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to say that right now. But overall, I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on most of the free agent signings, along with the one trade that was made today. So I'm not going to carry on too long for the intro. Let's just get it right into it. So the first move the Boston Bruins made today was trading for Victor Arbitson from the Edmonton Oilers. And the trade was a 2027 fifth round pick going to the Edmonton Oilers. In exchange, we get Victor Arbitson, a 32-year-old who's on an expiring contract. He has a cap hit of $4 million. Honestly, I like this deal. I know Arbitson didn't have the best season in his one season playing for the Oilers, but he definitely addresses a need that the Bruins have, which I'm not expecting Arbitson to set the world on fire. I think he's going to First off, I think he's going to address the hole the Bruins have in the top six when it comes to the right wingers. We definitely need, or the Bruins need. I keep saying we. The Bruins need another top six winger out there. I think they tried to go for Brock Besser. I don't know. This is my opinion, but I think they tried to go for Brock Besser. They realized they couldn't get him, so they settled for Victor Arbitson, and made this type of trade. And again, the points that Arbitson put up last year, it's nothing too crazy. But the one thing, I guess, what makes sense out of this trade too, and this kind of makes the same thing with Tanner Jano, but that's a completely different story. Buckle up for that. Buckle up for when I'm going to talk about Tanner Jano, because I might honestly crash out. But anyways, Marco Sturm, at least is that what his name is? Sorry, I'm blanking. Sturm, the new head coach for the Bruins. He obviously was previously with the LA Kings, so he definitely has ties to that organization. And before Arbitson played for the Oilers, he was on the LA Kings. So there's sort of that connection with that. There's sort of that familiarity. So I understand in that aspect. But Arbitson does address a major need that the Bruins have, and that major need is puck movement and puck carrying and things like that. The biggest thing that Arbitson is able to do is he's able to transition with the puck very well. He's able to get the puck into the offensive zone, which is a huge struggle that the Bruins had last season. I was talking about it in the when I was talking about James Higgins yesterday, but the reason, or at least when it came to the Bruins power play, and I don't know what they're going to do with Arbitson in the power play, because I don't necessarily think that this was just a power play fit, but I guess he'll probably be on the power play considering how thin this roster is, especially when it comes to talent. But regardless, the Bruins really struggled on the power play because they just couldn't get the puck into the offensive zone. They would lose a faceoff, they would have to regroup in the defensive zone, and they would just get stuffed on the blue line, and it would just repeat. And by the time they finally got into the offensive zone, the penalty was pretty much over. So they definitely needed to address that, and they definitely need a puck carrying forward, especially in their top six. And Arbitson is going to handle that. it's a low risk, high reward. So I'm not really too concerned when it comes to this trade. I mean, we're only giving up, or the Bruins are only giving up a 5th round pick for him. So it's nothing too crazy. And if he sucks, he sucks. It's a 1-year deal, so it's not going to hurt the Bruins too much. And also, depending on how the season goes for the Bruins and how Arbitson does, if Arbitson succeeds with the Bruins can flip him, and the Bruins can get prospects in return. So there's a lot of avenues that can go about this Arbitson situation. If it goes bad, so what? I mean, it is what it is. But also, if it goes well, the Bruins can easily get him for trade capital or draft capital. So I don't mind this. This is the only acquisition that really made sense for the Bruins. But it's nothing that's really gonna move the needle for this team. But at the same time, again, this free agency class is so depleted. So you gotta sign somebody, especially with the cap space the Bruins had. You gotta sign somebody. And now, oh my God, I don't understand this. Like, I wish I could see what that phone call was when Sweeney was talking to Jano's agent and everything like that, because how the actual fuck did Tanner Jano, a guy who put up 13 points last year for the LA Kings, get a 5-year contract for a $3.4 million AAV? I know $3.4 million isn't too expensive in the NHL, like, especially now that the cap is raising and everything like that. But why are you signing this dude to a 5-year deal? How does that make sense? It genuinely doesn't. I feel I don't understand it. I don't at all. What is the thought process behind this deal? Especially, I would be fine if this deal was, a 1, maybe 2-year deal worth about $2 million. But not only did the amount of years he received is way expected compared to what is way more than it should have been, his cap hit is also higher. To put it in perspective, Brandon Tanev signed, a 2-year, $2.5 million contract with the Utah Mammoth? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, actually, genuinely, what is this thought process behind it? Tanner Jano, he's not the only thing that I can think of positively for Jano is he's just like this physical, big-bodied, enforcing fourth line player. The Bruins don't really have that. They have Marcus Stellick, they have a John Beecher, and they just signed Sean Corrali this year, or they just signed Sean Corrali today, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then also Isinger from the Kraken too. He'll probably slot in to be a bottom 6 guy too. So what is this? Like, the Bruins don't need to worry about their fourth line. That's the least of their worries. The main thing they had to worry about was acquiring a top 6 center and a top 6 forward. I'm guessing that they probably struck out, but that doesn't mean that this contract should have even happened. I don't understand it at all. I already know, I'm assuming that Jano and Marcus Stellick are going to play on the fourth line together. And when they do, it's going to be a penalty every single time they touch the ice. I don't understand this at all, and it's going to be a contract that it honestly kind of reminds me of the who's the guy that we got, Max Jones last year, because it's kind of the similar thing where we get this, or the Bruins get this guy that is sort of like this checking enforcer player, and literally Max Jones played probably three games for the Bruins, sucked in all 3, and he got instantly waived. At least he went to the Oilers, and the Bruins got rid of that contract right away. But still, I feel like it's going to be the same thing with the Jano contract, but worse. Sure, there are going to be some moments where Jano, he'll have a pretty sick fight that will hype up the TD Garden. But what else does he provide? I'm not expecting it. Ever since he got traded to the Lightning, it's just been a steady decline for him. So I don't understand it. I don't understand this at all. And it's going to be a terrible contract. It's going to be a terrible contract after the first year. I don't understand it. So yeah, I think that's by far the worst contract that was signed out this entire day. And of course it happened with the Bruins, with a guy that they have no need for. Fucking unreal. I'll reframe that last thing really quickly. The Bruins do need physicality. That's one thing they definitely lacked last year, in my opinion. But at the same time, the Jano contract is not worth 3 point whatever million. It's not worth $3 million a year for 5 years. That is just ridiculous. The next signing I'm going to talk about is Sean Cari coming back to Boston. As much as I'm excited to see Sean Cari back in Boston, I still don't really understand the fit for him coming to this team. Again, the bottom six of this team is going to be such a clusterfuck now, especially when we have guys like Fraser Minton, Fabian Lysell, guys like that trying to make it full-time in the NHL, and then you have to deal with all of these fourth-line grit grinders coming in and trying to take spots. Like, I don't understand it. The one thing that I can see make a little sense for the Bruins, and again, this is a minor need for them, but it's just to get a fourth-line center. I know Kostelic plays a little bit of center. I know Beecher also plays a little bit of center. So I guess Corrali's going to have to, or at least, I think, in my belief in this, I think Cari is just going to be the center for the fourth line. I don't think Kostelic or Beecher is necessarily great at taking faceoffs, so I think hopefully it'll improve that. But hey, I'm not a guy that really pays attention to faceoffs like that, but I guess it's to address the defense a little bit more, add in a little bit of structure. But as much as I like Cari coming back, I don't understand really the fit, especially when it's a 2-year contract too. I get it's $1.9 million. It's not anything for money really. But at the same time, I just don't understand it. It's just, now it's just going to make this roster so much more confusing. You're going to see guys that are playing in, I don't know. I don't know at all. Like, as much as I love Cari and for the goal he had against the Senators in 2016 or 2017, I think, basically reviving the Bruins from there, and then just being a very solid fourth liner, with Nordstrom and Wagner. So I guess I'm happy that a familiar face is back in Boston, but at the same time, I'm not sure what the thought process is. I don't understand what the need for Cari is. So, and the last big free agent signing that happened for the Bruins today, there was a few other small ones, but one, I don't really know who they are, and two, I don't really care. I don't think that they're anything really crazy. They're kind of just fringe NHL guys that are going to play in Providence for the majority of the year and then come up if there's an injury, things like that. So not going to really talk about it. The last one I'm going to talk about, though, is Michael, I'm butchering this last name, but Isometric. He's a forward. He played for the Kraken last year. I mostly recognize him for playing with the Tampa Bay Lightning the past couple years. And I'm going to be honest. I think out of all the signings, or out of all the moves the Bruins made today, this honestly is my favorite. Isometric also addresses another need that the Bruins have, and that's just shooting the puck. I know that sounds kind of crazy for a need, but the Bruins really lacked shots on goal, especially from their bottom six forwards, especially because of guys like John Beecher, because he doesn't shoot for shit. But I think the main priority that Isometric comes with is just his ability to shoot the puck, him to just carry into the zone and just shoot. It's kind of the same thing with Arbitson. He does the same thing, but it's another thing where, Isometric just does a good job of just shooting the puck. That's really what it is, as simple as it is. So another player where, yes, the sample size is low. He only had 16 points in 77 games last year, so it's nothing special, but we're taking a guy that the Bruins are signing for only 1 year for like $1 million, and maybe it's a guy we can flip, or the Bruins can flip in the deadline. I keep saying we, but we're another player that the Bruins can flip during the deadline and get something back that is better for the value that could have been gotten for it. So that's my thoughts. But also another issue is he's kind of high in penalty minutes. Like last year, he only played 20 games for the Kraken. Or actually, never mind. He played 20 games for the Kraken last year, but he played 77 games in total between the Lightning and Seattle. I didn't realize that, but he did. He was a part of the Bjorkstrand deal. But anyways, in the 20 games he played for Seattle, he had 19 penalty minutes. He's had seasons where he's had over 100 penalty minutes. So the Bruins are going to take a lot of penalties next year. I guess that's probably the most notable thing that's going to take place. But that kind of just wraps up the video. Definitely negative on the thoughts of Boston next year, but we'll see. Hopefully there's some sort of trade. Again, I expect at least Pavel Zacha or Jonas Korpisalo to leave this team. At least that's what the hope, but I don't know. They're kind of already out of cap space at this point. They kind of went through all of their cap space this year, and the best players that they got were Victor Arbitson and Tanner Jano. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting, but I'll see if there's any updates the rest of the offseason, but not really going to expect much more.